There's a lot of BlockBound news to talk about today, including a new partial moveset leak for the admin, fresh concept art for Mutant Skeleton's advancements, ranked mode possibly coming to the game, and some important clarification about Wit The Pigman and Technoblade. There is honestly so much to go through today, so sit back, relax, and enjoy today's video. So first, let's talk about the admin. If you guys don't know, this is Romeo from Minecraft Story Mode, and we just got a portion of his moveset leaked in the BlockBound community server. What makes this really interesting is that he is not just a normal killer with one form. He actually has two different modes that he can swap between, his normal admin form and a special SNOWD form. His whole identity is built around being a man of many, which fits his character perfectly, because in story mode, he is always changing forms and messing with reality. In BlockBound, that idea turns into real gameplay. His passive is literally called a man of many. That already tells you the devs are leaning into his ego and pettiness. In gameplay, this passive lets him swap between his two modes whenever he wants, with no requirement needed. So he can be a rushdown style killer with lower damage in admin form, and then switch into a slower but much heavier hitting SNOWD form when he needs to. This creates a playstyle where you constantly adapt mid-chase instead of just committing to one mode. The actual swap ability is called Flicker Switch. The quote for it is, "Not all adventurers are sword swingers, you know," which again fits the admin perfectly. In-game, Flicker Switch has a 10-second cooldown and lets you switch between admin and SNOWD modes, but there is an end lag of about 1 second after you swap. That means you can't just spam it in the middle of a hit animation without getting punished. You have to think about when to commit to a mode before going into a chase or a fight. That alone already raises his difficulty to one of the hardest in the game. Now, looking at his admin mode in more detail, this is his fast rushdown side. In this form, he has higher sprint speed, and the sub-difficulty is already very high, so this isn't going to be an easy killer at all. One of the abilities we know about is Blitz Runner. The voice line for it is, "Give me back that gauntlet," which some of you might recognize from story mode when he's furious. In BlockBound, Blitz Runner has a 30-second cooldown and lets Romeo blitz forward at a very high speed for a few seconds. He grabs the first survivor in his path and deals tick damage every second they are caught. If he connects with someone, the move timer even extends slightly so he can drag them a bit longer before tossing them forward. However, if he misses, he suffers extra end lag. So it really rewards good aim and timing. You can't just spam it in a straight line and hope it hits. On the other side, we have SNOWD mode. The name itself is partially redacted in the description, which is a nice lore touch, but the important part is that this form trades some movement speed for tankiness and heavy hits. He gets slower, but he becomes more resistant to stuns and turns into a real threat when he finally catches you. His known ability here is called Deep Snow. The voice line is, "I told you, your world's done, no takebacks." In-game, Deep Snow has a 35-second cooldown and starts with a wind-up where Romeo smashes the ground. This creates direct damage around him, a shockwave in a radius, and then sends up to 15 snowballs flying out in a circular pattern. The snowballs can go quite far and are affected by gravity, and every one of them that hits a survivor deals damage and applies slowness and blindness. On top of that, if Romeo hits a survivor with those snowballs, he gets a speed boost and briefly highlights the survivor's aura. So in SNOWD mode, he can set up an area denial zone where moving wrong gets you slowed and blinded, which again fits his controlling personality. Keep in mind, this is just a portion of the full moveset, and everything is still subject to change. But even from this, you can already tell he is going to be one of the most complex killers in BlockBound. Now moving on to our second big topic, Mutant Skeleton. We recently got multiple pieces of concept art shared in the community, showing different advancement stages for him. Mutant Skeleton originally comes from the Mutant Creatures mod in Minecraft, where he is basically a bigger, more dangerous version of the normal skeleton. In BlockBound, the devs are using that idea but pushing it much further. The first concept image shows a very bulky armored skeleton with layered stone and metal plates. The whole design looks heavy and worn, with different shades of gray and greenish tones, almost like he has been forged together from broken blocks. Then another piece of concept art shows what appears to be Advancement 3 Mutant Skeleton, and this one looks even more intense. He has glowing blue elements, more detailed armor, and an almost boss-like presence, with arrows and magical effects surrounding him. You can also see what looks like some sort of quiver or mechanical enhancement on his back. Compared to the original Minecraft mod model, this BlockBound version looks much sharper and more stylized, with a big focus on silhouette and readability. You can clearly tell that this is not just a regular skeleton. This is a monster that is meant to stand out in a match. Even though we don't have full stats or a confirmed moveset yet, we can already start to theorize based on his design. The bow and quiver suggest that he will probably keep a ranged focus, but BlockBound loves giving killers extra twists. It would make a lot of sense if he could swap arrow types to apply different effects like slowness, damage over time, or maybe even a small explosive shot. The heavy armor plates might also mean he will have slightly more health or some sort of damage mitigation when certain conditions are met. It's also possible that his advancement system is tied to how he plays. Maybe he starts in a more basic form and then powers up over the course of a match. We'll have to wait for the final moveset reveal, but just from the art alone, Mutant Skeleton looks like he's going to be one of the standout killers at launch. The next big thing I want to talk about is ranked. BlockBound News recently shared a post showing a Discord poll from one of the devs asking players about their preferences for ranked game modes in other games. The questions were actually very detailed. They asked if people personally play ranked in other games, what kind of incentives they prefer, how long a ranked season should last, and what would encourage them to grind a ranked mode. A majority of players answered that they do play ranked when there are proper rewards like cosmetics. Most people also voted for shorter, more frequent seasons, like once a month or a rotating schedule, rather than super long, never-ending seasons. When asked what motivates them, cosmetics and exclusive rewards were by far the most popular answer. The important thing here is that the devs clearly said this ranked mode would not be available at launch, but could potentially come to the game in the future. That alone already tells us that they are thinking ahead about long-term replayability. For a game like BlockBound, a good ranked system could actually be a huge deal. Imagine a ladder where you can show off your skill with specific killers or survivors, plus exclusive skins, emotes, or banners tied to each season. If they do it right, it could keep the game active for months or years after release, instead of just relying on casual lobbies. It also means they are paying attention to what other asymmetrical games do right and wrong with their ranked modes. By asking the community directly now, they can hopefully avoid some of the usual problems like unfair matchmaking or rewards that feel too grindy. Finally, I want to talk about something really important regarding Wit The Pigman and Technoblade. Recently, some people in the community started assuming that Wit, who is a community-made survivor concept, was meant to represent Technoblade or be a replacement for him. This caused a lot of confusion, so both members of the dev team and BlockBound news accounts had to step in and clarify things. Hidden Anim, one of the people involved, stated very clearly that Technoblade will not be a survivor, will not be a killer, and will not be a skin on either side. Instead, they have chosen to honor him with a statue in the lobby, and that is all they will add out of respect for him and his family. They also asked people to stop requesting him as a playable character. BlockBound News then echoed this and explained that Wit is not a replacement for Technoblade. The exact wording was that it would be disrespectful to add Technoblade as a character in a game where you die over and over again, and I honestly agree with that. Wit is a completely separate concept with his own lore and mechanics about zombification and trinkets. He was created by community members who worked hard to make something unique that still fits the game's style. So it's really important that we don't try to fuse him with Technoblade or treat him as some kind of stand-in. Remember that Technoblade already has a very special place in the Minecraft community, and the devs choosing a statue is a more respectful way to honor him without turning him into a gameplay element in a horror environment. So overall, there's a lot happening in BlockBound right now. We have the admin with a very complex dual-form moveset that is shaping up to be one of the hardest killers in the game. Mutant Skeleton is getting more and more detailed concept art that shows just how much care is going into these designs. Ranked mode is being discussed through community polls, which is a great sign for the game's long-term future. And on top of that, the devs and community are trying to handle sensitive topics like Technoblade with respect, while still celebrating new community concepts like Wit. And that is it. Thank you guys for watching all the way until the end of the video. If you enjoyed it, Make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Love you all.